The world's greatest canoe marathon is proudly brought to you by Powerade. The 55th edition of the Hansa Powerade Dusi drew another record entry for a K2 championship race, with well over 2,000 paddlers gathering in Pietermaritzburg for the start, enjoying the well-oiled machine that runs this icon event and brings with it a unique carnival atmosphere. With good water in the river already assured, there were some anxious faces as the weather forecast was warning of extra heavy rainfalls the night before the start, setting the scene for a thriller clash between the country's best river racers. The day before the big race, the Powerade Sprint 200-metre event saw Sean Rubenstein and Scott Humphreys slug it out for the men's title and Alexa Lombard take the ladies' share of the R10,000 prize money.
From a sponsorship point of view, it's probably our best ever. We've got more sponsors than we've ever had before. There's more commercial interest generated in the event, and from that side, things are looking really promising and really good.
It's all systems go for a safe and exciting race. The Hansa Powerade Dusi is a tough event, and the rapids and obstacles on the river, as well as the arduous portages, means that injuries are a reality. The race is fortunate to have the support of Netcare 911, whose skilled staff manned key points along the route throughout the race, ready to handle anything from sprains and scratches to serious emergencies.
The Netcare 911 team was eager to demonstrate their rescue capacity, and with a big crowd assembled at Kampsdrift the day before the race, they set out to rescue one of the best swimmers in the country, Olympic star Terence Parkin, who took part in this year's Hansa Powerade Dusi as a celebrity paddler.
The Netcare 911 team worked closely with lifesavers and police and fire department rescue crews. It was an entertaining display that helped to settle the paddlers' nerves ahead of the big day.
Thursday, January 19, and for the 2018 paddlers, the Hansa Powerade Dusi had arrived at last. Some of the entrants had completed over 40 of these epic races, while many were setting off on their first one.
Very, very ready, very excited, fantastic weather, really looking forward to it.
I'm Ma, how are you?
There's Ma.
There's my partner, and there's my mother. And there's the French Legionnaire.
Yeah, my cap. Cool. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling fine, thank you.
Feeling strong?
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
strong.
What do you think of the weather?
Nice, perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Morning. How are you all feeling?
Strong.
Strong, you're doing all your planning?
Yeah, got a seconds here.
There's the navigator.
No, they can't read maps.
Just trying to make sure that our seconds arrive. Get to see us.
Is this before or after breakfast?
No. Breakfast is at the end.
Strong like Russia.
Strong? What do you think of the weather?
Fantastic.
Pretty good.
Nervous, yeah.
Already? Nervous?
Yeah.
The first easy?
Yeah.
Good. What do you think of the water level?
It's pretty hot today. Yeah.
And the weather?
It's actually pretty shitty. Yeah.
How are you going to do?
We're hoping to do pretty well. We've got a few contenders that we have to take care of, but I think we'll do okay. Hopefully just to finish.
These are B-Batch boys. They're up there with the big guns, and we're hoping that they're going to show the big guns how to do it today.
Strong?
Yeah, I hope so.
What do you think of the weather today?
Fantastic.
I actually haven't seen the weather this morning, but there was a hell of a lot of rain last night, so pretty sure it's picked up since yesterday. we were quite disappointed with the water coming through yesterday, but now I think we'll be pretty happy with the level.
Very smelly boat.
How are you feeling?
Extremely nervous. And it's my partner Casey. Hello.
Hi.
She's the driver.
What do you think of the water level?
Yeah, it's a bit high.
It's high. And the weather?
It's enjoyable because it's nice and cool today. Tomorrow apparently it's going to get really hot, so I'm going to enjoy it today and see how it goes from tomorrow and onwards.
2006, and the overcast conditions tell the tale of heavy overnight rains that left the Umsen Dusi at its highest race level for more than a decade, with a wall of water having come through Kampsdrift overnight. Day one hinges on two key portages. After some thrills on the way out of Pietermaritzburg, the Campbell's Farm and Guinea Fowl portages add up to 10 kilometers of running, and then the finish of the 42-kilometer stage at Dusi Bridge. The first batch onto the river at 6 a.m. was made up of the seeded men, with all the title contenders in the front row. Of the hot favourites, many people were watching Hank McGregor and Martin Dreyer, the two defending champs. And Stott and little-known Wayne Thompson were in the reckoning, and the pedigree of Len Jenkins and Michael Mbanjwa. Murray and Graham, consistent performers. Sean Biggs and Loveday Zondi attracting plenty of attention. Sean Biggs, a wild water pro, and Loveday Zondi third last year. And much expected of the under-21 crew of Turton from Underberg and Cape Town Simon van Geysen. Add to that Gautengers Stu Rawlinson and Graham Tweetberg. Tension and nerves jangling at the start, with the real prospect of a new stage record on the full river. The cannon from the Natal Carbineers gets the 2006 Hansapower Dusi underway. Less than 1 kilometre into the race, the first obstacle, Ernie Pierce-Weir. There is much to be gained by being the first boat down and having a clear river in front of you. Jenkins and Mbanjwa handily poised in second going down, with Dreyer and McGregor right on their rudder. An error here will sink any contender's chances of staying in contact, and the ochre-coloured water provided the first of many big water thrills on the day. A batch concertinaing at the entrance to Ernie Pierce-Weir. Malcolm Stoddard and Alice Rawlinson posting their first challenge in the mixed doubles category, clearing the stopper, while others are a little less fortunate. "10 minutes into the stage and the leaders approach the crowd at the YMCA watching the Commercial Road Weir action. And Len Jenkins and Michael Mbanjwa have hit the front, leading the pack down the fish chute and through the rapid below the weir, made easier by the full river. Mistakes here can damage equipment and lopped several crews off the front bunch. Onto the long, steep path through the cane fields at Campbell's Farm, and Jenkins and Mbanjwa have upped the ante as they run away from the challengers. They were the only crew to run the whole way up this notorious hill. Just behind them in second place, McGregor and Dreyer tried to stay focused on their own race, trying not to think of the leaders pulling away, while the first of thousands of pairs of feet plod up this infamous hill. Graham Bird and Stu Rawlinson are right in the mix at this stage. They've had a good day on the big water so far. The two big portages make or break the first day. After a good run over Campbell's Farm, Jenkins and Mbanjwa crest the hill after Devil's Cauldron on the Guinea Fowl portage, running masterfully, further extending their lead in a potent display of running with the boat. The Netcare 911 staff were strategically positioned at key points along the course to deal with any eventualities, Mbanjwa almost slipping on the loose rocks. Behind them, Martin Dreyer and Hank McGregor were in second. While they powered down the hill dragging their boat, now they could not see the leaders in front of them. The portages are where time is made or lost on the first day, as the full and fast-flowing river made it tough for the strong paddlers to catch up significantly. Jenkins and Mbanjwa heading for Maze and Mission Rapid. In a surprise development, the under-21 rising stars Simon van Geysen and Craig Turton had blitzed into third with some solid running. While just behind them, Ant Stott is forcing the pace, trying to take the pressure off his partner Wayne Thompson, who has not raced at this level before. The bottom of Mission Rapid, and the leaders Len Jenkins and Michael Mbanjwa are more than 2 minutes clear, catching up the overnight floodwaters. Hank McGregor and Martin Dreyer still solidly in second, and the split between themselves and the lead is now 2 minutes 10. Dreyer and McGregor know they have to turn up the heat to try and close the gap. 2 minutes 45 further back, that was the split at Mission. Simon van Geysen and Craig Turton in third. The levels of the river now rising significantly, making this rapid exiting Mission a lot easier than it has been in years gone by, but the rocks still in play. Turton watching the lines carefully as he goes through. In fourth place now, and Stott and his partner Wayne Thompson. They have a Hitch 3 ride, and Stott's experience showing in abundance. So the end of day one of the Hansa Powerade Dusi 2006, and the cool conditions and full river helped Len Jenkins and Michael Mbanjwa to take 6 minutes off the stage record.
Yeah, we managed to make history. As according to plan. That was our plan, to make history. Not only for Thursday exile until Saturday, because the race is not finished yet. And I think maybe we can keep it. Tomorrow we'll try our best, because we're only not strong in running, we also strong paddlers. So I think we can keep the gap tomorrow.
From the gun, the cannon that started us off at the beginning, we just went hard. And we just got longer and stronger and more powerful in the boat, and there's so much rhythm in the boat, it was unbreakable.
Dreyer and McGregor closed the gap for a while, but finished just under 3 minutes adrift.
No, Hank's a very strong paddler. I had my best Dusi start. We went over the weir in the top 4. I was quite chuffed about that. And now Hank's very powerful. I mean, he pulls hard in the water, and he ran well with the boat. I think we had a good day. The field's very strong. So we're very happy with our performance.
So after day one, Len Jenkins and Michael Mbanjwa holding all the aces, with Sean Biggs and Loveday Zondi having been hamstrung by rudder problems on the day. Back at Camp's Drift, and the batch containing all the seeded women's crews is started by the Carboneers Cannon. 11 boats have been shortlisted for the women's title race, and the standard of competition within this batch would be fierce over the 3 days. The pre-race favourites Alexa Lombard and Abby Miedemer predictably hit the front and shot Ernie Pierce-Weir first, while behind them, the rest of the seeded women show off their solid standing and the state of women's river paddling, and showed that they have got what it takes to master this weir and the river. In the women's race, there is a clear favourite crew, Alexa Lombard and Abby Miedemer, the two women who have dominated this race this millennium. The challenge will come from the Eastern Cape in Waldra and E-Ray, and the Gauteng and Maritzburg duo of Thompson and Joyce. Don't write off the local crew of Oliver and Van Maltzen. As expected, Lombard and Miedemer led from the gun, and they stretched their lead going up and down Campbell's Farm portage, with the crew of Joyce and Thompson, who had prepared well for this year's race, trailing in second, staying in contact on the full river and on the runs. Back on the river, Miedemer is now sitting in front as Lombard is battling with cramps, but in Mission Rapid, it's business as usual. Lombard driving skillfully, in charge of the pedals as they make the normally rocky chute look deceptively easy. The split in the women's race now 3 minutes 10 as the second place crew of Thompson and Joyce consolidate their second place. Some of the seeded women have also opted to go for slightly more stable accords to handle the rough river conditions. Miedemer and Lombard finish the first stage 14 minutes inside the record.
They start to come in now, see what conditions are like out there. They've been out there for a while. See a bit of sunburn setting in there on some of the guys.
So at the end of day one of the Hansa Powerade Dusi 2006, the women's race has quickly sorted itself out into a two-crew affair, with Lombard and Miedemer well in control. The cannon from the Natal Carboneers hits off each batch at the start of day one of the Hansa Powerade Dusi. With the nerves jangling and the body still feeling fresh, the sprint was on to get across the flat water to Ernie Pierce-Weir first. Most make Ernie Pierce-Weir. Others don't, others sort of don't, but then do.
The next test of the paddler's abilities is the YMCA weir at the end of Peter Maritzburg's Alexandra Park. with the river very full and divers on hand to point out the right lines, the ride down the chute was more forgiving than usual.
It's lovely, cool weather, beautiful valley, it's good.
The best part about the Dusi are the bait. Look at this. Makes it all worthwhile.
Luckily for the paddlers, they were spared the ruthlessness of the summer sun. The cold Powerade did wonders for the paddlers' minds.
Feeling great. Number 21. So yeah, we just got to go through and get through it.
The guinea fowl portage is a little shorter than Campbell's, but a lot tougher, with the mud of Devil's Cauldron lying in wait.
Nice weather and a good day, it's lekker.
Oh, can't wait till it's over, then we're back in the river.
Our partner's bloody slacking. Going about, buddy?
How's it going?
I'm not a great portager, hey? Gravity acts against me.
That woman's the devil. She is from hell. I wasn't supposed to be. I was supposed to be sleeping this afternoon. That's all I've got to say.
That's muddy, horrible. Water's fantastic, but the mud now is, there you go, four-wheel drive stuff.
You can't have it all. The rains make for fantastic paddling conditions and made the path slow and slippery. Lucky the roads back down to the river held up well in the wet.
Hey, we're doing well, thanks, man. Everything's so good so far. Nice water, nice weather, feeling good.
A signature of the race was the number of official peace monitors, as well as hundreds of local well-wishers that lined the banks of the rivers.
My partner's overweight, so I'm going to trade him in. Average.
Looking for a new model.
Yeah.
Looking for a sports model.
Trade him in, huh?
What about your partner?
No, he's okay. He's a bit like in the brook, but otherwise he's okay. His feathers are getting in the way.
This race demands absolute trust between two partners, especially when they encounter an obstacle like Mission Rapid, the biggest test on the first day. The paddlers were actually catching up the floodwater from the night before, making Mission lots of fun.
If we carry on drinking Hunts or watching this all day, we're going to fall out more than them.
The big water took its toll on the Fall River, and a swim often resulted in a damaged boat and that unique Dusi riverside repair job.
It started at Commercial Road, went through Commercial Road, and I think there's a bit of a fault with the design of this boat, and it just split in two, and it's just got progressively worse as we come down.
This was man against nature at its best. With the river this full, every minute was like a sparring session. Sometimes you land a punch, sometimes you take the hit.
Finger neck portage and a chance to stretch the legs before the final paddle home. Cold Powerade, music, some good humour and encouragement goes a long way for the tired paddlers.
He's doing fine. He drives like shit from the back though.
Water. Hey, I'm buggered there. But it's been fun. Water is amazing.
At last, Dusi Bridge, and the end of paddling on day one, where a carnival atmosphere envelops this beautiful corner of the Zulu kingdom. Time to work on the aching muscles while there's still a lot of repair work being done to the boats, damaged by the rocks in the fast-flowing Umsunduzi River. Few boats were unscathed, some needed minor repair, others were shattered.
I think we need to get the boat fixed. We'll see if we can get it fixed. Otherwise, it's they won't be here tomorrow.
It was good, Just cramped a bit, First time around, it was quite good.
Good to be here, yeah. 1 down, 2 to go.
In any race, someone has to finish last, and the Dusi is no exception.
Well, it all went wrong for us on Maze. We were flying, and I think we would have been here in about 3 hours if it hadn't gone wrong for us. We ended up not getting around a rock, and I went down the one side and my partner tried to go down the other, and he was actually caught in the rapid for a little bit. But yeah, we managed to get him out, and we did a patch job and managed to get through to the end somehow.
The longest day on the river, big water and dangerous rapids, topped off with a long haul on Ananda Dam. That is what was awaiting the paddlers on day 2 of the Hansapare Dusi.
The leaders head off in elapsed time, so Jenkins and Mbanjwa are 2 minutes 50 clear, and the canoeing fans on the bank see something special in this crew. Tactics will be vital for the chasers Hank McGregor and Martin Dreyer on day 2, where there are plenty of risks that can be taken to put pressure on the leaders. At the confluence of the Dusi and the Umgeni, the river is very demanding, and after the Ngumeni portage, there are the big 3 of Gumtree, Tombi and Hippo Rapids, which will be very tough on a full river. The day ends with a 12-kilometre slog across the flat waters of Inanda Dam. From the vantage point on the saddles, the seasoned Dusi followers were watching the drama unfold.
Then Jenkins and Michael Mbanjwa, they've got nearly a 3-minute lead, which they could increase in the early part this morning, and I'm sure they're going to have to try to increase this lead, because Dreyer and Hank McGregor, they're going to be going hell for leather today. There's a lot of money at stake in this, there's a lot of prestige. Paul Ellis once said, you know, you win the Dusi on the first day and you lose it on the second and third, and that's what we're looking at for the next 2 days.
Prophetic words indeed from a veteran Dusi scribe. For McGregor and Dreyer, the day felt like the fox chasing a rabbit. It's business as usual for Len Jenkins and Michael Mbanjwa as they take off on the saddles portages, further stretching their lead over Dreyer and McGregor, who are trying their darndest to close the gap before they reach the confluence with the Umgeni. Hank McGregor and Martin Dreyer cross the river between the 2 saddles portages, still solidly in second, but gradually losing ground to Jenkins and Mbanjwa. This is the race for 3rd and 4th, a close tussle. For most of these paddlers, the day ahead would be about calculating risks and deciding where to gamble and where to play it safe. Jenkins and Mbanjwa hit the Umgeni, which is thumping due to the Umsanduzi floodwaters and the water release from Nagle Dam. They have a plan to minimize their risks to protect their lead when it comes to this unforgiving section of river. McGregor and Dreyer are going hard, but they get some bad news from the bank.
3 minutes 50.
Len Jenkins takes up the story from here.
I didn't know how much of a lead we had, and the helicopter was hovering right behind us, so I thought the guys had closed the gap. So I decided to not take too many risks, but decided to try and see if there was a way through Willem Shoot, and I saw that there was. On the left-hand side we have Sean Rubenstein, one of our seconds, and he had just communicated to us that there was lots of water in the chute, which is the part on the right-hand side you can see now, and the message that he gave us was sort of a bit scattered and led to more confusion. He was trying to tell us that it was too full to shoot Willem Shoot, which is the place we're going down right now. This place is where we normally get out on the right hand side here. The river level's normally about a metre lower than what it is now, and we were going to get out on the right hand bank there, but there was too much water. We had committed to going down this line already. Just a small hop over the rocks and I thought we were home and dry. This is where it all goes wrong. That rock, I was meant to be on the right hand side of that rock. Had I been on the right hand side of that rock, it would have been fine, or half a metre to the left. I think what has actually happened here is we've gone too far right and we have ended up in the eddy, which is the water flowing backwards, and that pushed our nose down even deeper, and I think we just touched a small rock and the resulting water pressure burst our boat from the back to the front. I didn't realise how bad the situation was until we hit this rock here, and I had a chance to feel the boat and look at what had actually gone wrong.
A Dusi tragedy of Shakespearean proportions that their chasers were unaware of. McGregor and Dreyer playing it safe at Willem Shoot.
We actually messed up quite badly in washing machine. We took the wrong line and we lost like a minute there. So
When we got our first time check after that, we heard we were 3 minutes 50 behind Len Jenkins and Michael. So after we heard that, it was pretty much portage Willem shoot, because we had never shot it at that level, and it is a very risky rapid. So we portaged that, and as we got to the bottom of Willems, we were paddling like 30 meters into it, and we suddenly looked on our right hand side and suddenly saw Len and Michael there, and it's quite scary, because you've been trying to chase these guys for the last hour, and the next minute you're actually sitting right next to them, and you don't know what happened. And we were the fox chasing the rabbit, and we ended up suddenly becoming the prey eventually. So yeah, it was a bit nerve-wracking, but that's the way the race goes. Anything can happen in the Dusi.
Halfway on day 2 of the Hansa Powerade Dusi is the steep Ngomeni Hill portage that cuts out the impassable Mamba Gorge. And Stotter and Wayne Thompson have had a fantastic second day and are closing in fast on the leaders as they crest Ngomeni Hill. Dreyer and McGregor suddenly found themselves being the boat that everybody was chasing. They had started the day being the chasers. The race had been turned on its head by the disaster that befell Jenkins and Mbanjwa. Back down on the swollen Umgeni River, and Stott and Wayne Thompson are putting in a titanic charge, comfortably in second and going fast as they head back to the river and the big 3, Gumtree, Tombi and Hippo Rapids, all unknown factors at this high water level for many of the crews. Hippo in particular would be decisive on the day.
Seeing the water so full, we thought we could maybe slide on the right hand side in the conservative approach, but we hadn't practiced that, and we thought, well, let's just go into the main drop from the right, and it should be a right. But for some reason we got knocked to the right, and we caught a wobble, and we went over. We were actually basically going to be swimming down the rapid, sliding down, and we were able to tip ourselves upright. It's one of my mottos I kind of use in life, is that luck favors the prepared, and you make your own luck to a certain point, and I think there though the Dusi helped us out a bit.
The flying duo of Stott and Thompson are right on the leader's tail, and they've done their homework. They see that the sneak slide over the rocks on the right is on, and they dodge a potential swim by missing the main channel. The race is now well and truly on. In third place, Turton and Van Geysen are handling the big water on the day. They take Hippo down the middle. The challenge in this rapid is to stay in the turbulent water after the last drop, a gamble they lose on this occasion. While the swim is a short and safe one, the time to empty their boat is time they just didn't have, as the crew of Graham Bird and Stu Rawlinson are in their element in the big river. They make no mistakes in Hippo, and they pass the hapless under-21s as they watch helplessly from the bank.
There's the functional reasons that we're involved in the Hansa Powerade Dusi. The paddlers obviously need the extra energy while they're doing the race, and they also need all the ingredients that Powerade has to help them to recover after the event. But I think also it's just about the emotional reasons that we're involved. I think if you come down and you spend some time at the Dusi, you realize what an amazing community event it is, and just how fantastic it is to work with all the organizers, the paddlers, the media. I mean, everyone just feels a special spirit that is the Dusi. This is such a great South African event, one of the big 5, and Powerade's proud and privileged to be involved in it.
Once the race hit the Umgeni, the game changed. The big river was thumping and boosted by water releases, and that made the rapids in the confluence section pretty cruel.
Gauging weir was the next obstacle in the paddler's way. Most walk around it, but some could just not resist the temptation to try, one way or the other.
23 Dusi, like nothing's changed, eh? Water's up, nah.
The Mariani Foley Causeway marks the exact halfway point of the race, amidst the splendour of the granite outcrops of the Umgeni Valley. The river was still asking plenty of questions of the paddlers. Some passed with flying colours. Others came unstuck. And at this level, the consequences of a swim can be very severe.
Not a good way to do it. Not a good way at all. So we've got a lot of repairs to do, and then we're going to we just have to get to Nanda today and then sort it out tonight, and we'll finish. That's the plan. Have to finish.
There's an old canoeing maxim. You can dance with the river, but you have to know the steps.
At the end of the day, it boils down to shit happens, eh? And yeah, we got stuck up against a rock, trying to get out and sort the problem out. Rod got wrapped around it, unfortunately. Be back next year. Lovely weather, good atmosphere, good water.
Back on the river, the Umgeni was full, and Tombi and Hippo Rapid were dumping plenty of crews brave enough to take them on. Tombi, just upstream from here, was in a particularly uncharitable mood, while here, the turbulent water and the eddies at the foot of Hippo Rapid were responsible for plenty of swims. Stott and Thompson caught Dreyer and McGregor above Inanda Dam, and on the 12 kilometers of flatwater sprint to the finish, they dropped the hammer and they won the end sprint, taking 4 minutes off the stage record in the process. But have a careful look at McGregor and Dreyer. They are unfazed by the end sprint. They seem to be thinking about the final stage, day 3 of the Hansa Powerade Dusi Canoe Marathon, and their own game plan.
We were hoping to maybe make up to third, but to be up there with Hank and Martin, it's a pity about Len and Michael. We saw them battling along with their damaged boat. But jeepers, Wayne, well done. He's never even got a silver before, so he's done phenomenally well. He's come out of nowhere, and to be leading off the day 2, even if we don't wake up tomorrow, we're still going to be very happy.
Good to be here in first and second, but a little bit disappointing when Len messed up in, I think it must have been Willem's chute. We saw him duct taping his back of his boat.
Graham Bird and Stu Rawlinson had styled on the full river, and they finished the second stage in 3rd position overall. Loveday Zondi and Sean Biggs put their woes of the first day behind them. They rocketed from 7th to 4th, with Craig Turton and Simon van Geysen right on their wave.
What an awesome day, eh? We were really chuffed with our race. We had absolutely no mistakes. After that, we had a devastating day yesterday. We broke our rudder and we were really disappointed. We were lying about 7th. And I think we were 5 minutes behind the guys in 3rd, and now we're about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So we've closed 3 minutes on them, and I'm just really stoked. We're in for a shot at the podium tomorrow. So it's going to be a hard day tomorrow.
We'll try and push it hard tomorrow, as hard as we can, and then we'll try and be there on the podium tomorrow.
That was devastating for the overnight race leaders Len Jenkins and Michael Mbanjwa. Despite the disaster at Willem's chute, they finished well down the field, having first taped their shattered canoe together and then spent time fiberglassing it back together to enable them to carry on. This race, they realized, is bigger than them. And as is the case for every single Dusi paddler, the challenge is to finish this occasionally cruel event, even in the face of extreme adversity. Respect, and a fitting tribute to Robert Lembete.
When we break there, I was so sad there. So I was really sad.
So day 2 of the Hansa Powerade Dusi, and the men's race turned on its head. 3 boats within 6 minutes of each other. That's just one swim. Back upriver, and the ladies' race leaders Miedema and Lombard are pacing themselves well as they head for the confluence with the Umgeni. The handy lead they had earned after a day and a half of racing meant that they didn't have to take extreme risks. Miedema and Lombard then decided to portage the nasty Tombi Rapid that had been mauling most of the boats that attempted it. After walking around Tombi, they got back into the river and headed on down to Hippo Rapid. At Hippo, they went down the main chute, fully aware that Joyce and Thompson would hungrily snap up any time that they sacrificed by walking around any other big rapids. They make it in style. Joyce and Thompson were pushing hard and they hit Hippo purposefully. They take the main drop fine, but just like Turton and Van Geysen earlier, they got undone by the swirly water at the foot of the rapid. It was a swim that would cost them valuable time and take the race away from them. Miedema and Lombard made no further mistakes and hit the overnight stop at the Mcinci Resort at Inanda Dam with a 15-minute lead and a stage time that chopped 12 minutes off the record.
At Marion Foley it was just under 7 minutes, but we have no idea from there what the gap is now. I mean, it was big water on the other side in Gomeni, and yeah,
Are you happy with the way it went today?
Yes, Lexa drove really, really well.
We were a little bit cautious. We portaged Tombi. We could have shot it, but we had a really good run through confidence. It was good fun, and a great paddle across the dam.
In the women's race at the Hansa Powerade Dusi, it's all over bar the shouting for the leaders. Just reward for Lombard and Miedema after 2 tough days. Day 2 is the toughest for the field as they go toe-to-toe with the Umgeni Valley at its nastiest.
No, it's been fantastic, fantastic day.
Hey, not too bad, man.
Partner's got some concrete in his legs, but otherwise it's alright. So, that was great. Enjoying it.
Loving it.
Quite good, eh? It's lack of water, it's fun.
It wasn't just the paddlers that were falling prey to the river. The Isuzu Media vehicle created a new obstacle in the Umgeni.
A bit tiring for an old body like me.
Getting through a tough day on the Hansa Powerade Dusi relies heavily on the camaraderie that is so special to this event. After completing a tough day 2 on the big Umgeni River, day 3 to Durban seemed all downhill from here.
Nice atmosphere, nice water level, great, eh? Glad to be finished.
Long day, but enjoyable day.
Ruined, mate, ruined. But it's all worth it, eh, afterwards.
The head is I agree with you 100%, so that's a great hit, seriously.
How are you feeling?
It was painful backside of the
Excellent, thank you. Good.
Yeah, it was good, eh? No swims or anything. Yeah, it was good, eh?
But day 2 was alright, eh?
Good.
We were in a small group, the last batch to leave, and everybody just took all the precautions that there were. That's why I'm here.
How are you feeling?
Tired, otherwise delighted to be here.
Great, and how was the day overall?
We had a heavy day. A lot of swims, big water. It was lovely.
Fantastic, thank you.
And how was it?
It's just a long day, eh? Tell me, is McGregor in yet?
Was it? No comment. How was it?
It's horrible.
Any incidents?
No, we got our boat.
2 boats. I see you in 2 boats.
Mark Redding from Stockbridge. This boat was almost in half, and how close were they to giving up? Before the dam, they hadn't quite given up there.
Wonderful, guys. Congratulations. Folks, maybe a little slow clap as they go.
Carnage on the Umgeni left some crews with no option but to walk their shattered craft home.
And what actually happened? Talk us through it.
We fell out at the bottom of Tombi and wrapped on the rock in the middle and swam it to the edge and ran from there. Ran and walked.
Once again, the boat repairers were doing thriving trade after a tough day that left plenty of craft needing some TLC from the experts. But despite the high number of breakages, there were very few crews that failed to finish.
I started at 10:10 and I absolutely died all the way.
Where did it go wrong?
No, I'm just not fit enough. I was in slow batch, so I had to go slow.
We went over washing machine and hit a rock and had 90 degrees nose. And split underneath. So took a bit of duct tape and fixed it up.
For the real enthusiasts, a tent at Inanda Dam will be home tonight.
Well, it's been a Hansa Powerade Dusi 2006 of race records, of broken boats, of broken records, and a lot of broken things. Just talked to Hank McGregor and Martin Dreyer, and it's going to be a tussle like we've never seen.
I think it's going to be a really good showdown. I think we're going to put on a pretty good show for the public.
We'll probably be across the dam together, hopefully. And then once we get to the river, it's every man for himself.
We don't yet know who's going over Burma and who's going to go around. But it promises to be a day of drama, and it won't let us down. The Dusi kicks in, and I think at this year, the Dusi got its respect back.
Day 3 of the Hansa Powerade Dusi, the shortest leg on the clear, cold, big rapids below Inanda Dam. For the leaders, Burma Road is the key decision, and options to shoot Pump House Weir as a last roll of the dice. The finish at Blue Lagoon in Durban, where a big crowd is waiting. Clear skies for the final showdown.
Go!
Women's leaders Abby Miedema and Alexa Lombard start at the front of elapsed time with the 2 leading men's boats, and it's Stott and Thompson who put their foot down early and get away from McGregor and Dreyer going across the dam. 2 contrasting races in one. The women have earned the right to calculate their risks and err on the side of caution on the final leg, while the 2 men's contenders know that the duo that dares will win. Inanda Dam gives the paddlers 4 kilometers of flat water to loosen up before they hit the demanding rapids that will litter the next 20 kilometers of the Umgeni River. Dreyer and McGregor stay right on the wave of the charging Ant Stott and Wayne Thompson, conserving some of their energy in the process. At the Inanda Dam wall, there's a 1 kilometer portage around the wall, which is spilling thanks to the good rains of that week. This portage represented a chance for one of the contenders to try and make a break, a chance that McGregor and Dreyer took.
Yeah, we got out for the dam wall together, and we started running over towards the river, and I noticed Martin and Hank started going really hard. And as far as I was concerned, it was a bit unrealistically hard. I knew Martin would be redlining it at the back there, so we didn't go flat out, we let them go. And yeah, I normally put it into tops needle, but I felt we didn't need to because our paddling, I think, was a bit stronger than them. So we followed them in and we put into the pool, which joins in halfway down the rapid. And again, they started paddling really, really hard, and we knew they were pushing it flat out. So we weren't too worried about it. We were hoping that they would tire, and it wasn't their race pace for the day. So we just got into a nice rhythm, and just slowly reeled them in.
The run over the dam wall earned Dreyer and McGregor a 100-meter lead as they went through Umzanyati Rapid, fully aware that the biggest decision of the race day lay just around the corner. The run of roughly half an hour over Burma Road, or stay in the full and fast-flowing Umgeni River and paddle around. It was a tactical game of cat and mouse with neither crew prepared to show their cards. Tops Needle is a very tricky pile of rubble, reorganized by the construction of the dam wall. For those brave enough to shoot it from the top, it quickly and ruthlessly punishes any boat that strays offline.
Tops Needle is dangerous. It was here that the Dusi almost ended in a nightmare for the 32-year-old Tim White.
I had a variety of thoughts going through my head. It was, I knew at one stage that I didn't really say to myself, you're going to die, but I had a conscious thought that I did not want to die. The paddlers in the water were absolutely fantastic. The guys were talking to me. They were helping me out. When I got tired, I was saying to them, guys, I'm getting a bit tired, I can't hold on. They would grab me and just let me rest for a little bit. And really that gave me huge strength to be surrounded by fellow paddlers.
Finally, Umgeni Water shut off the release from Inanda Dam, which saw this drama end on a positive note. An example of the unique Dusi spirit at its best.
The Burma Road portage, probably the most feared bit of real estate trod by paddlers.
It's been really good so far. Today's been a bit of a bugger. Burma hasn't been so hot, but we'll see what the other side brings.
Burma Road is an optional portage, a conscious choice to carry the craft over a murderously steep hill to avoid some of the biggest rapids on the Umgeni. It's a choice that many revisit on the portage.
My partner forced me to come up here, and now Jeez. No, he's gone. He's probably puking in the bushes there somewhere.
It's a tough portage that returns to the river below Five Fingers Rapid. For those that opted to paddle around, the river had plenty in store. Little John, which is not little, Graveyard, which is often one, Island, and Five Fingers Rapid itself.
To get this close to Durban and come unstuck must be hugely frustrating. This paddler is fortunate to have such a competent and cooperative rescue and evacuation crew at his disposal to ensure that he gets the right treatment from Netcare 911 team as quickly as possible.
What's the rock there?
I slipped on the rocks at top needle and my whole finger bent that way. I just pushed it back and duct taped it and I'm on the go again.
They always knew we were going to go over, but it was a bit of a mind game because last year Ant said he was going around, he was going to go around, but then suddenly when he got to the Burma takeout, he jumped out in front of me. So I think this year, he made that decision that, well, he was going to definitely go around and we were going to go over. And I think it was one of those first races that the leaders actually got to the bottom of Burma together. I don't think there's ever been a Dusi like that.
Crunch time, and Dreyer and McGregor hit the road at Burma Road, while Stott and Thompson stay in the river to paddle around. Stott now heading for Little John Rapid, just around the corner.
We had made our decision on the morning of the race before the start. We had driven down there and had a look at the river level. So we knew there was enough water for us to paddle around and be really competitive. And when they took out, we decided, I said to Wayne, come, let's go for it. And we put the hammer down and really started going hard from there. And we were hoping to get to the Burma Road put in before them.
And towards the top it gets very, very steep and you've got to dig deep. You're forced to walk and you're not sure how you're doing relative to the other paddlers, especially this year with Ant and Wayne going round. It was quite a tense time. When we went over, we ran as fast as we could down, but still not knowing if we've made up time or if we've lost.
Okay, buddy.
It was touch and go. Dreyer and McGregor running well over Burma, and there was nothing in it as Stott and Thompson approached the key Island Rapid.
We knew if we made it through here, all we'd have left ahead of us is Island 2. You can see the very big holes in this rapid that we're missing. Very tricky rapid there, taking some big hits from the waves. Losing control here slightly and actually banging into the rock on the side there. Fortunately, we corrected quickly and we're back into the flow. Myself and Wayne were a bit nervous here. We knew that this was the big risk we'll be taking on day 3, and to get to Burma Road, put in ahead of Martin and Hank, we'd have to get through this section unscathed. So now we're just trying to get our thoughts back together again now, a bit jittery after Island 1. And approaching Island 2 now, which is twice as big and twice as dangerous as Island 1 Rapid. So now just talking to Wayne, just telling him to relax and just trying to get straight into the middle of our seats and getting ready for Island 2. The best way of lining up for Island 2 Rapid is to come close to the left-hand bank and actually sneak under the tree right against the left-hand side. You can see us coming under the tree now, and you can't actually see where you're going until you come out the other side. And now you want to drop over the sledge here into the middle of the first wave. Oh, and there are both Buckles. And Buckles again, you see our nose shooting up in front of us. And here this hole grabs us and holds us and tips us out. The boat just gave way underneath us, and very lucky here though, very quick swim. Wayne managed to catch the rudder of the boat and pull us to the side. But we knew, we could feel the boat had bent right in half underneath us.
Dreyer and McGregor were unaware of the drama on the river, the defining moment of the final day, and they could only run down Burma Road as hard as possible to the put-in below Five Fingers Rapid.
You get in the water after running for 33 minutes or something like that, and you get in the water, and there's dead silence. It's just you in the water, and you look behind, you can't see anyone. You look in front, you can't see anyone. There's nobody to tell you if you have got a lead or if you're behind. So it's actually a terrifying experience, because you're trying so hard and your brain's basically firing on all cylinders to try and keep your body to keep going, keep pushing. And when you suddenly realize that you don't actually know if you're in front or behind, it's a terrible feeling, you know. The first time we realized we were in front was when we got to It's a place called the golf course, and it's approximately, I think, about 35 minutes from the finish. And then it's the first time you actually see your seconds. And when we got there, we heard from some guys on the bank that we were 5 minutes ahead. If we had heard that earlier, we wouldn't have shot the pump house weirs or anything like that, because that's also pretty risky.
In the end, an overall race record was the cherry on the top for Martin Dreyer and Hank McGregor as they arrived at Blue Lagoon in Durban to enjoy the acclaim from the massive crowd that they richly deserved after a 3-day humdinger of a tussle for the title, which had all the elements of a classic thriller novel.
Not until the end, we managed to get some power rate from our seconds at a special little outcrop before outer ring, and that just gave us the extra boost to get to the end.
I think we surprised the rest of the field by actually beating Ant to the bottom of top, so that was I really claimed that one. So I think it was a faultless day, and hats off to Martin. He's a great partner, and yeah, it was a fantastic win.
A gallant second place to Ant Stott and Wayne Thompson. They celebrate the moment, a huge achievement considering they were paddling a broken boat home.
And then unfortunately our boat buckled at Island 2, and that was it, race over. After that we had to portage every single rapid all the way in, so still very happy with the second place, much better than we expected before we started the race.
The finish of the Hansa Powerade Dusi at Blue Lagoon in Durban is a welcome sight for the paddlers and something that the Zulu Kingdom is proud of in hosting this icon event. The paddlers enjoyed an uninterrupted paddle into Durban thanks to the removal of the hyacinth and the good water from Mngeni water. Gauteng challengers Graham Bird and Stu Rawlinson snatching third.
Oh, it's awesome to have the big water and to have a beast in the boat to take me through it in the last 2 days. It was so awesome. It's nice, cool weather, awesome water, and then just obviously the competitive racing. I mean, everyone was there. I feel so bad for Len and Michael. I mean, they just had such bad luck. You know, obviously we could take advantage of that, but it's nice to know that everyone's so close. I mean, today, we didn't know what we were going to do because we were worried the two boats right behind us, they could have caught us so easily. No, but we still wanted to push to see if we could maybe get a second or first, because the time gaps weren't big enough, so it was awesome to be so competitive.
Well, I think you guys couldn't have scripted it any better. I mean, you had the top two boats about a second apart having to make a crucial decision. I think hats off to the Dusi committee for getting the release that they got for the canoeists to actually have to think about it and causing one boat to go around and one to go over. It was incredibly exciting, and it was awesome to be up in there to watch the race unfold. It's been an awesome Dusi. They get better and better every year, and I think it just gets easier and easier every year. I think the partnership that we've got with Powerade works hell of a while, and the Hansa Powerade Dusi gets easier for us, and I think we put on a better show every year. So well done to you guys and your team for all the support that you've given us.
The win was a special one for Martin Dreyer at 36, 6 out of his 10 Dusi marathon titles. He's also contemplating handing over the crown to younger paddlers.
I think it might be a good time to quit when you've done well and go out with a bang, and stop when you're at top than to go in and grovel a bit and get beaten by the youngsters who are all super eager and getting stronger by the day. I think it's a good time to maybe give it a rest.
One of the fastest times over the final stage went to Len Jenkins and Michael Mbanjwa, who had put their disappointments behind them and finished.
I'm really proud that in the end we put our head together and decided to finish the race today. I would say big well done to Len that he agreed that we should finish the race. I'm really happy, especially to the memory of Robert. I'm really proud of myself that I did finish this race.
Victory in the end going to Hank McGregor and Martin Dreyer in a new overall record time. Dreyer's 6th victory and McGregor twice in 2 years.
I think our strengths are very opposite. I'm more a paddler and Abby's more a runner, so trying to work together and work on our weaknesses has been a good learning curve.
It was an intimidating prospect for any other female paddler to see the two women who had defined female paddling in the Hansa Powerade Dusi this millennium in the same boat together. In the end, scarcely putting a paddle wrong, the challenge from Alexa Lombard and Abby Miedemer proved too strong for any of the other women. They paddled a tactically astute race in difficult conditions and thoroughly deserved the handsome margin of victory that they enjoyed coming into Durban. Carol Joyce and Laura Thompson never relented in their pursuit of the race leaders. They took some big gambles and paid the price as they damaged their boat in the big rapids below Inanda Dam. They limped home with a damaged craft, but still preserved the second place that they had worked so hard for. Victory was sweet in the end for Alexa Lombard and Abby Miedemer as they took 25 minutes off the previous women's K2 record.
Today was very hard. We opted to go over Burma, not the biggest runner, and it was very, very tough. The water yesterday was huge. Today it seemed like a lot, but we didn't stay in the water for too long. It was a lot of running today.
I'm happy to be here first. We had a great day. Hard. I think Lexa deserved the extra medal for going over Burma, but really, really good.
Benefiting from Dion's experience clearly, and here we
Carol Joyce and Laura Thompson limped into Durban with a broken kayak, having carried their boat around some of the last major rapids. It was a big day for the Thompson family with 2 second-place finishes.
Yeah, not bad, nice water, paddled hard, a little bit of a mishap to our boat, I don't know where we did that, but yeah, we got through okay, we're happy.
Oh, it was awesome, eh? I think the water made it just that much better, it was awesome.
The massive margin of victory for Alexa Lombard and Abby Miedemer was suitable tribute to a great race.
Blue Lagoon in Durban and the finish of this epic 3-day contest. The memory of paddling under the final 3 bridges into the heart of Durban will be etched into each paddler's memory forever. Terence Parkin savouring his first Dusi medal.
Day 3, the water was as good as it gets. The weather was kind, the water at 35 QMX was quite forgiving but still very exciting, and the perfect way to round off what has been a brilliant race.
He was a great partner, and this is our second that we finished, and we had a great 3 days. It was lovely water all 3 days.
Oh, it was good fun, It's always good fun. Lots of water, took a few chances, didn't pay off.
For each paddler, the 2006 Hansapare Dusi will have memories and stories to tell about their exploits on the Umsunduzi and Umgeni rivers en route to Durban. Everyone starts as an equal and ends as a winner by completing the world's greatest canoe marathon.
There was very little paddling, a lot of portaging, a lot of fixing of boats.
A lot of character building, I suppose.
Character building, yeah.
It's a race loaded with character, with history steeped in legends, and ready to play host to this unique South African canoeing celebration again next year. The world's greatest canoe marathon was proudly brought to you by Powerade.